Давайте посмотрим. Let us see. Сначала уроки нам надо поздравовать здравствуйте. At the beginning of every lesson, it is obligatory for every person to greet hello. Повторите со мной, пожалуйста. Repeat after me. Здравствуйте. Здравствуйте. Расскажите, пожалуйста, обо мне, about me, обо тебе, about you. That is how my Russian teacher starts every lesson. This is how I start my life with every person. Это как начинаемся нашей жизни вместе. So please, tell me your story. Hi there, I am Swit Marie. I've been active in the arts and poetry community for about 4 years. I'm also part of the West Coast Swing Dance community and the Star Wars Malaysia fan club. Thank you for joining us at BeraniBersama. Big thank you to the organizers from Shang Parlor and Jam Chat Records for putting this all together. We are here to create awareness and also raise funds for Mercy Malaysia's COVID-19 pandemic fund. And if you would like to donate, please go over to Launch Good and check out the links in the description for where to donate. And if you would like to find out where the allocations are going to, you can check out Mercy Malaysia's website as well. So the poem earlier, it's called Здравствуйте, which means hello in Russian. I'll be sharing a couple of poems from my blog called the Muruku Murmurations. This next one is called Pick X. Let's take a peek into history. Pick me, pick me, pick me, I would yell out at the tip top of my eagerness. You see, back then, I was too small for the teachers to notice and small enough for the other kids to pick on, and they picked me apart. You see, I wasn't a cookie-cut cutie. I wasn't anyone's first pick, and I didn't check all the boxes growing up. Growing up, I didn't have the boxes to tick. No list of aspirations or expectations. I braved my face every time my words did not leave a trace. You see, in your absence, in the absence of your words, they did cut deep into my heart. And I grew up being picky about my friends, picky about my clothes, picky about pictures, picky about my desires, picky about who I would put close to me. It seemed to be easier to pick up on all the negatives instead of focus on the positives. I would say, pick your words wisely, because I knew how much they meant, and I knew they meant much. It was a mind-boggling pickle. It wasn't just pick-up lines or puns for funs. It was pick-me-up lines. I was picky about pictures because pictures did not always pick me. It was hard to find pictures where I could picture myself being picture perfect. You see, Papa picked on me constantly. He wasn't there to pick me up when I was up or when I was falling down. But I did pick it up from him to be unemotional and practical. You see, when I was younger, when I was eager, when I was at the peak of my progress, that is where I would regress. Putting out fires that should have not started there in the first place. I take a peek and all breaks loose. You see, back then, I lacked wisdom to wait. I lacked patience and wit. I looked like I had a bone to pick with everyone and everything, because perfection was the box that I wanted to tick. I got burned and I burned out repeatedly. And as I grew older, moving forward, I learned each and every day to stop picking at myself and started picking myself up. So that now, to today, I can be my own first pick. That was Pick X. This next piece is called Stop, Drop, and Roll. Stop, drop, and roll the dice of stolen time. You see these dots of missing odds doubled by the unpredictable chance when falling is a must, but falling on the right numbers is always a gamble. You see, there is no right answers for the minds that play tricks on ourselves on a dime. The consequence is more than we can handle. Stop, drop, and roll down this hill recklessly when you have lost control, tumbling down rapidly down a cascade, chafed by barricades, scratched by sticks, scabbed by stones, caught by your own broken bones. Stop, drop, and roll out a list of things that you feel uneasy about yourself. The things that bind you and keep your feet from being planted on the ground. Stop, drop, and roll into a mud pit of unreasonable thoughts. You see, it is like quicksand. The more you struggle, the more it engulfs you, the quicker you sink, the quicker your panic becomes real, and the harder it is for you to stand, the harder it is for you to see the end. Stop, drop, and roll up your sleeves. Looking at your heart dangled at the edges of your wrist, your mind unhinged like cufflinks separated from one another, unable to bear with the forgiveness that you need to give yourself. You see, self-care is buttoning up your sleeves just so the atmosphere can't burn your skin any longer. Stop, drop, and roll a cigarette. Take a deep breath and search for the oxygen molecules that are hidden amongst the trouble. Weave out the tobacco and find clarity amongst the puff of smoke, of ridicule that your daily life delivers at you. The regret of the high that you find in this slow death, ask yourself, is nicotine the only consolation prize that we give ourselves for our anxiety? You see, one day there will be a call. When life catches fire, stop, drop, and roll. Some days you will need to stop. Drop everything and roll out a mat, because your friend will need you. A safe space. Someone that no one else can replace in that moment in time, when they can be present for themselves, when their present is being haunted by the past and they can't get past the present state of being haunted. When you feel overwhelmed, stop, drop, and roll into a blanket. A warm embrace where the wool will erase every tinge of discomfort for that moment. That blanket is a safe space where you will fit perfectly, where your skin does not feel foreign and your body is an accepted shape, a covering that stays so close to you like a mother's first contact with her baby. Stop, drop, and roll your tongue into speaking good things about yourself. These words of affirmation, these words of restoration, fuel your life of parole with good role models, and stop patrolling empty homes. Learn to be kind to yourself as you pass each toll, because that is the price that you pay for your own journey to be whole. Let's take a deep breath together. This next piece is called Sutures. I pick up strings of tender, loving care. I am not good at surgery, but I will give it a try. To do the almost impossible, but I will take up the dare, even though the process will have tears that I will cry. You see, time pierces our fragile hearts. inch by inch, so sharp that it leaves such deep cuts where the skin is left. Soon the numbness will leave and it will feel way more than a pinch. Too many words we will pretend to be deaf to. Soon enough you will see that it will somehow come together. One tug of our heartstrings, the lightning will clear the stormy weather, and clearer skies and rainbows like how it was in spring. From afar you will see that the sutures are intact, and all the wounds would soon turn into well-healed scars. That beautiful heart has the power to attract. So don't keep those painful past memories in the jar anymore. This next piece is called Strength. This is dedicated to everyone who's found it really difficult to go through these times or have lost somebody very close or dear to them in their life. Strength is not about the weight that you can lift. It is about the burden that you are able to bear for as long as you can and as long as you need to. It is a born gift that is inside you, that grows with every day that you lift your shoulders to shoulder the ones that you care for as long as you need and as long as you can. Strength is being able to lift your head up high above the rift, to look with hope and faith, to restore and repair for as long as you can and as long as you need to. This is your gift that turns the weak into the mighty who dare to keep moving forward for as long as you can and as long as you need to. This next piece is called Five. Five is a piece that I wrote a couple of years ago to talk a little bit about mental health. So if this is something that might be a bit too heavy for you, do skip or wait a couple more minutes until this piece is over. Or maybe if you really are in a state where you need to talk to somebody, contact somebody and look for resources where you might be able to get some professional help. It's got a few words that might be triggering for you for some people. So yeah, do listen with a bit of caution for this one. Five, 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 five. Four, 3, 2, 1. Do, re, mi, fa, sol. So, as the saying goes, cats have 9 lives. I would like to think that we have 5. Birth, when a new page is written and a new portion is handed down from the ones before us. Growth, where we learn and develop, nurture influences and build character. Midlife, where our personalities show from that period of growth, where our choices that we make will reflect in how we dealt with the hands that we are dealt with. Give life. Be it barren, newborn, or businesses, at some point we give life to something we invest to give of ourselves because it is worth giving. Death, where all things must come to an end. We have 5 core emotions: joy, sadness, anger, rejection, and fear. And I have 5 core memories that associate with these things. 5 things that have shaped my journey and 5 things that have given me reason. The day my dad said he would never be proud of me. The day I discovered God knew me and I had found love, hope, and faith. The day I found out that my grandmother was dying of cancer. The day I said no to medicine and said yes to medicating me. And the day I gave my life and my gaze, my days to poetry. You see, there are 5 titles that have shook the world, a meteora that made a hybrid theory iridescent. Breaking the habit from the inside is numb and heavy in the end. One more light was put out, but it will always burn in our hearts for eternity. At some point in our lives, we have gone through the 5 phases of grief. Denial and disbelief that something so real can affect us or our loved ones. Anger at the injustice that life has dished out to us. Depression, bargaining, and paid the price to find some improvement in quality of life. Depression and stress are very real ghosts and demons that haunt even the best of us. Acceptance is key. To acknowledge the existence of a problem is the start to finding a solution. Beyond these 5 rows, beyond these 5 people, I am not sure if you can hear me. Like the cries of a person so silent, it is the iceberg beneath the sea of currents. I don't know if you can hear me. Can you hear me? Can you hear me? Can you hear me? I want to thank you who are afar, who have been listening. And I want to thank you who are near, who've been with me, and for all of you who have reached out to me, thank you. Because 5 seconds, 5 minutes, 5 hours, 5 days, 5 months, 5 years, we all count as these things go by. Each moment a small step, each day a small victory. As long as you are moving and moving forward, it all counts. Whether you are counting down to your next round of medications, whether you are counting up to your next round of chemo sessions, whether you are counting the amount of days that you have been fighting or how many years that you have been surviving, it all counts. In this 5 minutes, I have invited you into my life, as calm as a doe, as I recited these poems of my journey thus far. I would like to greet you for inviting you into my life to pay homage to the walks of life that you have gone and all your life stories and journeys that you have shared with so far. I would like to pay respect to the warriors who have gone before me, the ones who have reminded me that it is okay to breathe in different dialects. I would like to ask for forgiveness for those who I have offended, regardless of if I've taken it or I've given it, because no wrongs should be left in a place of what should be right. And I submit myself to you, because you have humbly listened to my journey so far. And I shared this stage with legends and gods of poetry. I'd like to dedicate this piece to my late grandmother. So Gojipek means 5 to 8 in Hokkien. In a little taman called Ai Itam, slightly quiet since it has lost its charm, a boisterous and charismatic lady with beauty like Hang Lipo. It's been 5 years since we said goodbye to Popo. She was ever so popular among the marketeers of Pulau Tikus. Madam Un Sui Chu had her own daily routine, making friends, chit-chatting and bargaining. She loved her grandchildren with all of her heart. Our little quirks and conversations kept her vibrant, and each one had a special place in her heart. She wanted to see all of us before she had to part. Every night she would say, "Shien, macai ai ki ban san," and I would always say yes and try to sleep by 1. Akong and I would have our oats as she got ready, and then our usual kway teow theng and kopi o. I miss your asam laksas and your batzang. How you would make us feel like Hokkien lang when you would teach us how to make angku and teach us how to make your rempah for your guleng hu. Thank you for all the moments that we shared, because you were always proud of us and showing how much you cared. Penang is not the same anymore, and unfortunately no more Gojipek reunions like before. This next piece is called Remember. A fleet of stalks glazed the night sky ever so smoothly. Remember this state of flight. Caramel sparrows murmuring in the clouds. Remember this phase of life. Majestic albatross flying like it owns the sky. Remember this journey of destination. Brims of rainbow salmons challenging the current. Remember this power of determination. Fences of upstanding meerkats, anticipating. Remember this energy of readiness. Tumbling awkward ferals, swiveling their trunks with cheekiness. Remember this essence of innocence. Hibernating polar bears that trust in the seasons. Remember the necessity of loving yourself. This next piece is called Dragon Tale. So Dragon Tale is a piece that I wrote that combines my favorite things from Sarawak, Mario the video game, and also the book and movie How to Train Your Dragon. Waking up to the clouds embracing mountain ranges. This is where my heart belongs. My fingertips touch the sparkles in the air made by the sun rays that love the mist, and my shoulders rise with the lightness of the sunrise. A symphony of dragons sifting through the clouds, murmurations of stormflies, creating iridescent rainbows in panoramic view. Vibrancy of rushing swirls and spins turn the sky into a kaleidoscope of colors. Brother Crimson sits by the porch with his bamboo cup, tuak sneaking down his throat. And as the clouds clear the pepper fields, Brother Keyline walks through the paddy fields on the way to the wells to collect sky juice back for the Barok. The time comes for the gathering. Fury circle the canopies of limestone caves that rise as high as the heavens, walls of cascading toadstool waterfalls. Brother Crimson climbs to the edge of the ledge and calling out to Brother Keyline to catch a sight of the streamline of rare dragons fly. And he jumps waiting for a nosedive to form a somersault in between, landing in the water like diving into a pool of gold coins, steely, cold, and familiar. And his first thought was, why did she leave? And Brother Key Lime jest, no treasure there for you, brother, unless you dive deep enough. They sit by the pool of fairy dust and pixie streams. He sees the eyes of a dream that wants her to come back one day. And he knows that this tale has no end, not unless he tames the fire that is within his heart and let the ashes bathe him like how he did in the lagoon. Brother Crimson sighs, and he smiles like how the night greets the day at twilight. A smidge of conscious regret, a pinch of accepting grace, and a glimmer of undeniable possibility. They make their way back to the hills. The sun setting, painting the skies pink and rose, furies following them in a streamline, and the stormflies are nowhere in sight as they camouflage with the dimming light of magic hour. Brother Key Limes know that it is time for the dragons to find solace with the inevitable until the next morning. We keep our treasures close to our hearts, though it is out of sight. This next piece is called Convergence. Is written for somebody very dear to me. I would like to dedicate this to Julian. Remarkable meets fascinating, a journey of two souls in parallel, making decisions that bend the nature of their paths, causing it to coincide in ways of another, constantly moving and flowing forward. These are rivers from the mountain drifting its way in its course, returning to its route, alternating in between logic and rationale, sliding through intersections of intense emotions. Returning, scroll back up. Thanks. Returning among serendipitous, frivolous memories, falling into natural cascades formed over thousands of years of formation, where fresh becomes salt. What was bland now finds taste in life, flavors of insignificant minerals that come together to create an ocean of messianic zeal, a solution to the desires and longings and wanting, a desire for all humans that seek their whole lives to find, an innate need to one genuine connection that ties all humanity together. Is it a question of fate, a subject of the laws of attraction? Is education limited to the confines of those who formed ideologies that was taught to be the ideal method to conduct society? A discourse between dispositions and disorders? There is no absolute answer. There is only a journey of past experiences and present decisions, where the aim is to find a way to convene again, in hope that the rivers will merge into the known ocean, a vast, open and unrestricted body of movement. It is life and sustenance, an infinitive cycle of generations that create, degenerate, and regenerate, souls bounded by the dimensions of this lifetime, ever searching for the joys that make mortality worth living, a means to an end to find fulfillment and satisfaction in a life that is so temporal. Our own definition of eternal bliss, encapsulated in the form of sincere and unconditional love. This one is called Lightweight. At dawn, I breathe in the light. It stretches out into every space in my chest, and it expands with every breath, warming every valley between my ribs. It embraces my heart like the waves that wrap the shoreline. I exhale, leaving silhouettes like silver against dark velvet, moonlight glowing in the night amongst the shadows like stars twinkling in the universe, drawing constellations in the spaces of my lungs. And as I breathe again, this twilight breaks the silence. The light brings resurrection, and the darkness starts to fade away. This next piece is called Yearbook. Dear Diary, I am looking through yearbooks to find a little insight of who you are, a glimpse of a lifetime in suspension. Annual yearbook pictures in the classes that you do not fit into, where moments of untimely expressions were captured to last for what seems like eternity. Represented desires and impressions made by carefully chosen quotes and phrased aspirations that shaped us as our fantasized avatars. Interest in clubs, sports, and councils that embodied the activities and movements your passions scouted for. Swimming through currents of cliques, safeguarding social standings to survive the pubescent wilderness. You know, at graduation, people always talk about eagles, but no one talks about crows. They talk about those who soar but not scavenge, and the glorified but not the survivors. You see, redundancy is a rare species that is sought after but no one expects to find. And reading through your scribbles and thoughts like memories of journal entries that were long forgotten, I imagine your voice in those thoughts, and it brings healing like songs that were left on dusty mixtapes. Putting those one-hit wonders on the radio just so that life is easier to digest and time is easier to swallow. Some nights are better with the lights on. The moonlight that slivers along the edges of these pages, the stars are shining bright. But they are difficult to see in the light pollution. You see, sometimes like you may look like you barely twinkle, but I will not forget that you burn profusely with the force of the sun. When the shadows keep encompassing your eyes, it is hard to see the glimmer. It is difficult to sift out the silhouettes from the shadows. And those are the times where I will turn on the fairy lights as I read through these pages. In plain sight, I will see the light catcher that you are and the kaleidoscope of who you are on your way to be. And I will hold on to a candle to keep the shadows at bay once I keep this yearbook away. Peace in the midst of turbulence. The gradient sea calmly defines the horizon as the chilling bayous carry salty and briny accents across the smooth pastel shoreline where I ran to chase the sea. Over my heavy laden shoulders stretched a canopy of sky embroidered by clouds. The sun did not scorch, nor did it set the sky ablaze. It was evenly tempered with shadowed shrouds. The soles of my feet sink milliliter by milliliter into the muck of loosely shifting sands, like ink into paper, absorbed deeper and deeper. The rushing sounds of waves rhythmically crash into the shore. It populates the crevices of my mind and invades every hollow store, resounding through my core. The waves sway back and forth, drawing me in and shifting and stirring the energy, swirling like a whirlwind, consumed by the currents, entirely interlaced with the scarves of sea water. My thoughts submerge into these waters. I to delve into my emotions, freely moving as one with the oceans. I am afloat in my imagination, drenched in the motion. This is a moment of tranquility, and it sweeps me over. Peace plows through the battering waves as I am pulled further from the coast of desired treasure. The separation from circumstance, still in the midst of chaos, bliss in the midst of turbulence, found even when you are lost, and alive and thriving at all cost. My arms are open wide, embraced by the tide. My view is now panoramic. My eyes are wide open and with no limitations in my sight. I'd like to dedicate this set to all the frontliners who have been serving our country nationwide. And if you're watching from overseas, I dedicate this to all the frontliners who are working there as well. And I'd like to give a big shout out to the organizers, Shang Parlor and Jam Chat Records, for making this all happen. It's been an absolute honor and privilege to be able to share my set with you tonight. Please, if you would like to support all the different initiatives out there, go on to Launch Good and donate to Mercy Malaysia's COVID-19 Pandemic Fund. All of the contributions from tonight's efforts are all going to be banked into them. And if you would like to find out about their allocations, you can go over to their website and check it out. My name is Swit Marie, and you've been listening to poems from the Muruku Murmurations. Have a good night, stay home, stay safe, and may the 4th be with you.